along. Abi, we're here with Training Room. We are going to be talking about women lifting weights. How are you doing, Abi?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, not too bad. So, first of all, you're joining us talking about weightlifting for females, clients or females in general. Tell us a little bit about your background, Salazar.
Okay, so I used to be in marketing, did a desk job for many years, and then I got fed up and I thought, right, I need my own business, I need to do my own thing. So I quit marketing, retrained as a PT, that was about 10 years ago. Never regretted it, so yeah, just really enjoyed it. And then I kind of went to specialise in something in particular, and I found this was even about, say, 7 years ago, that women weren't really sure what to do in the weights area. They weren't sure how to weight train, and everything they did was like cardio focused. So I set up a class called Girls Who Lift, that's still running today. It's both online because of COVID situation, and still running in person now. We're back at the gym.
Oh, good stuff. So with that, how popular do you find that, specialising in female kind of weight training?
I think women really like it because it is specialised just to them. A lot of people say, oh, why don't you do a class? Why can't men come? You know, why aren't they allowed? And I just say, well, I want it just for women, so they feel confident, they don't feel like judged by other people, and they're just with people like themselves. A lot of men are actually quite confident in the gym, so it was more the women that seem to need help and ask for help and take the advice as well. All factors. Men are more likely to, and it's generalisation, but more likely to go in the gym, give it a go, see what happens. Then if they might get injured or they're not achieving results, then get a PT. But women tend to just stick to the cardio because that's safe, no one's looking at them. So they therefore need a bit more coaxing in and persuading to do the weight training. So I thought it was necessary really to show them the way, so to speak. Yeah,
definitely. I think you're spot on there though with the difference in the sort of male and female approach. You know, men kind of generally have the ego part of them, whereas you don't generally get that with females. So you're absolutely right. It's like anything, isn't it? You get lost, and a man will go, I'm just going to continue until I find something, whereas a female will ask.
Yeah, slightly stereotypical, but you know, it seems to be the way as a general rule.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Cool. So, in general, do women lift? You kind of sort of said, yeah. Do you think other than people coming to your classes as such, in general in the gym, do you think they are lifting the weight?
So I'm seeing there seems to be an increase in women lifting weights. Obviously, I don't think it is as much as it could be, but I think over the years I have seen it more popularised. I don't know if that's through like social media and people being inspired, or people just maybe getting bored of cardio and realising that cardio isn't the answer to everything. That if they want to actually change the shape and get stronger, that they do actually need to lift the weights. So I feel like it is going in the right direction. I think maybe CrossFit's got quite a lot to answer for as well, in a good way. I mean, I used to do it, but I kept getting injured and, you know, swings and roundabouts. Like, I'm glad I did it because I learned from it. But I think that's also got a lot of women into weight training. But then on a negative side, people see like the people that are like champions at CrossFit, and a lot of women are quite bulky because of the weights. But it's not just because it's the weights, because they're eating and training really intensely because they're at the top of the game, like nearly professional athletes. So then women think, oh, if I do weights, that's what I'm going to look like, because they look at high-end athletes who train enormously, rather than, okay, if you lift weights once or twice a week, that's not going to happen. So I still think there's like that barrier and that gap that, you know, needs to be adjusted, and people do need persuading. Okay, you're not going to look like that. Like, it's kind of an insult to the people that spend all that time trying to look strong. It's not that easy.
No. If it was, especially a lot of the guys, you know, would be there like that, you know.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Do you think the gyms themselves have a part to play in almost making the weights area less inviting, let's say, for women to take?
What, as in like more inviting? It needs to be more inviting.
Yeah, it needs to be more inviting. They're not necessarily pushing it making it inviting environment for women.
I mean, I find that a lot of women are still calling it the men's area. Yeah. And I'm just, when they go, oh, don't go in the men's area by myself, I'm like, look, it's not the men's area. Okay, there's mostly men there, but it is the weights area, and we're allowed in there. So I see like some gyms do like women's only areas, but I don't know, I don't really like the segregation there. Yeah. Then it's like, you know, I think women should learn to be more confident. I know it's easier said than done because I do it for a living, but I'd like women to be more confident and able to just go in there, lift the weights with the men and not feel intimidated. And the men, you know, I don't think a lot of men even are that bothered, to be honest. I think they're just more looking at themselves and looking at how much weight they can lift rather than any woman trying to lift weights. So I think like a lot of confidence needs to be grown within the female population. As to how to do that, I'm not sure entirely. Yeah. I don't know what the answer is. I think a lot of it is just women growing some confidence and getting in there and just realising it is actually okay. Yeah.
Do you find I often sort of one reason why I find a lot of women maybe avoid the especially the kind of heavy weights and things like that is you find a lot of the lighter weights are quite often pink.
Oh yeah.
So they're naturally kind of, oh well, they must be mine.
And like conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. They must be mine. Whereas you know, if they put all the weights pink, it'd be much more open kind of for other people to
a bit like your kettlebells behind you. You got like little red and pink ones there.
Red and pink one, and they're the smallest one. You know, absolutely. Yeah.
The kettlebell at the gym, the smallest one is 8. Yeah, I guess it goes back to like Jane Fonda days, doing like, you know, bodyweight exercises in leotards and everything's like pink. And we do seem to still be like stereotyped into that category for some reason. And so I think it is getting better. But yeah, I think the manufacturers need to just like sort it out and, you know, just make them all neutral or something, or make the heavier one pink and see if that helps.
Yeah.
But I think we have always been conditioned growing up to like, okay, here's a little weight, do some cardio, the men's over there in the gym.
Yeah.
But I think we're going in the right direction, but it is still going to take like a bit of time, I think, to get women there and confident in that area.
Yeah. No, I agree. Do you think it comes down a lot to like growing up? Because, you know, if you go from natural, like working with kids and things like that, quite often as a little girl, they're quite often given dolls.
Yeah.
Whereas a little boy is more given a ball or something sportive kind of thing. So the you know, an anatomical side with all the neurotransmitters firing all to the muscles, the coordination, everything like that, is always built up a lot more within the males because of those type of things. So when they come to do more of the lifts and things, normally at a older, or when I say older age, I mean kind of maybe teens or something like that. You know, coordination might not be there, or their confidence isn't there because they see other people at the same age as such who are maybe doing a bit more.
Yeah, I think like maybe if they started doing it at school for like both women, so like girls and guys, like the benefits of weight training and just getting people confident from that young age. Because when I was a teenager, like I didn't know what to do at the gym. We didn't learn anything. We did like rounders at school and went running cross country, running in the mud, and like no weights or anything. So then like when you leave, when you leave school, then you just left to like, all right, what do we do with these weights? Like go on the machines. Like before I was a PT, I used to go on those leg machines that like adductors and things, and then a little bit on the cardio machines, just and a few sit-ups, a few bicep curls, and like I didn't know what I was doing. But I think more education maybe from like a younger age will just help people get on the right track, and at least they have options then. If that's the path they want to go down, then fine. If not, then obviously weight training is not for everyone. but at least it'll kind of open their eyes to to that kind of training.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. So again, linking it all to the whole, the health and well-being is, to me, I think it's always got to be almost like your first education. If you look after yourself, whether that's in nutrition, cooking, or exercise training, mental health as well, all play a big part. We know that lifting weights, big part of mental health as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you feel empowered if you can lift like a load of weights, or if you can do a pull-up, you've learned to do a press-up, like you're learning to control your body. It's not just all about what it looks like and how many likes it can get on social media. It's actually what it can do for you, and like how strong you can get, and that you're looking after it for longevity's sake. Because obviously, as you get older, muscle mass is going to deteriorate. So if you started from a young age, it's going to be like a natural transition to keep going into old age. Yeah.
And do you see, or many kind of, I guess, female clients now working more towards sort of a bit more hypertrophy, a bit more strength? I think traditionally they probably stuck more to the endurance-based training, just high reps, low weight. I think quite often maybe classes like the old classic, body pumps, that type of thing, where it's just done over time, so the weights never get that high. But you see a lot more now wanting to put more weight.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people so like when we do deadlifts, like in my girls who lift class, I will say, okay, we've got 10 minutes, and build to a heavy like 10 reps on your deadlift. So it's not just like rep. It's everyone can adjust the weights to suit them, and I think it's more satisfying for them because they're like, okay, 10 reps, I did 60 kg or whatever, and they've actually achieved something, and then they can see themselves getting stronger rather than just lighter reps, which is obviously good for strength, endurance, and and fat burning, but you're not going to get essentially stronger. So you're not going to be able to lift heavier unless you lift heavier. So I think it becomes, like, as I say, an achievement with, as I say, pull-ups, press-ups, like measurable feats of fitness. And I think people enjoy being able to do something and achieve it. And then obviously, like, as you get older, little things like getting up off the couch or carrying your shopping, putting your shopping in the shelves, things that we now take for granted. If you're stronger, you're going to be more able as you get into like really old age, and then you're going to be more self-sufficient. So then with that becomes empowerment, and then you're not going to fall over as much. So I just think I've gone off a bit of a tangent, but like start now, and then it's going to serve you in older age as well.
Absolutely. I think going back to your point that you made there about kind of achievement, I think you're right with when people, and it could be anybody, lifting weight, you feel that pride and proud that you've actually managed to do that. I kind of think to my mum. My mum now has been doing CrossFit for a couple of years. And I won't say how old she is, but she's been doing it for a few years now, and before that she's always done exercise, she's always done these like body pump classes and things like that, and she never came back to me after one of those and go, oh, that's a really good class, I managed this amount of reps through or anything. Never once. But from CrossFit, as soon as I see her, I hit my PB today on my clean and jerks, or carry the 50 kg bar up and down the gym 50 times or whatever it is. And they're really massively proud of doing that and achieving that, because like you say, you can see that progression.
Exactly. It is something to be proud of, and then at least you can set goals to work towards, so then it keeps the training interesting. Absolutely.
And again, we find the byproduct of that is you get the things that most people want, the weight loss, the tone muscle, all that type of thing. It's kind of like the byproduct of all of that work.
Yeah, exactly. And endorphins, self-confidence, just feeling good about yourself and feeling capable in in your mind and what your body can actually achieve.
Absolutely.
Rather than just being like on a treadmill, just burning the fat.
It
gets boring and people get injured. So.
It gets massively boring.
Yeah, I mean, some people love running, but I think it's good. Even runners need to strength train.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So let's look then go through the ages a little bit. What about we've spoken already about kind of younger people getting into strength training and things like that. Let's look at what about anyone for like pre-postnatal. You had any experience working with any clients?
Yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of pre and postnatal clients. So I say like with the prenatal, so during pregnancy, there's like dramatic changes that's happening in the body. So your body's all getting out of line. You've suddenly got weight on the front of your hips are forward, hamstrings are getting tight, chest are getting tight, and then near the end, waddling a lot of the time, depending on how heavily pregnant. But then at the same time, people still have to get around. People still have to get out of bed, go up the stairs. They still need to be functionally fit whilst growing this baby. So even though people are like, oh, why are they exercising when they should just be like sat on the couch or whatever? Not that a lot of people say that, but some people do. But then I'm like, you still got to get off that couch, and you still probably might have to bath your other baby that you've had. And plus during labour, you're gonna have to be functionally fit to get through the labour as well. And then after you've had the baby, then you've got to carry prams, you've got to carry the baby, you've got to get your core working. So I just think strength training is essential if done correctly. Obviously pre and postnatally. Postnatally, obviously wait until your 6-week check or 10-week check after a C-section. But even if we're waiting that time, during that time, mums are busy running around upstairs, downstairs, carrying things anyway. They're not like wrapped in cotton wool for those 6 to 10 weeks. So then as soon as they can come to you, you want to make sure building the core strength up and building the foundations, stretching out the tight muscles. I'd say the chest gets tight from carrying the baby and from breastfeeding. Hip flexors can get tight, hamstrings tight. So the strength training can not only strengthen all the muscles, but then also stretch things out, like good mornings, Romanian deadlifts, getting the hamstrings stretching and just getting the posterior chain working. Like back muscles are continually in that stretch position. So you want to be stretching out the pecs and working the back muscles. And women just feel better for it. They're like, okay, I'm feeling more like me. Often we do a lot of unilateral work, because if you're holding baby in one hand, doing things with the other, you're going to get imbalances. So stuff like single arm lat pull down, split squats, single leg glute bridges, just trying to identify where the imbalances are and just try and equal things out basically. And women do enjoy it, but it's got to be gradual and it's got to be sensible, really. Well, definitely.
And I think that's the key bit, being sensible with it. And it also obviously plays into part about what they've done previously.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You certainly wouldn't train someone who's been training for years before the same way as someone who's just starting to train, in the same way you wouldn't anyway.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. And you wouldn't start strength training and say if during pregnancy if they've never done anything before. So they always just say, just if they've done it before, then fine, continue. And then obviously as the pregnancy progresses, then regress the exercises. But even with that, a lot of people are different. Some people can keep going until I've trained people at 39 weeks and then they've had the baby the couple of days after. Some people might want to stop a couple of months before because it's not feeling right for them. Or you might just want to do body weight or really tone down the weights. I think it's really personable to them, and really you just got to communicate a lot, and with every exercise ask how they're feeling, and then just change the program accordingly.
I know my other half, she was teaching a strength training class and then gave birth that night.
Oh wow.
She kept going
That's impressive.
Going all the way.
And how many weeks was that?
Full 39.
Oh right, so it wasn't like early or anything because she lifted the
No, she was still there.
Oh wow, that's impressive.
And also, even looking at weight training in general anyway, massively, as you mentioned, increases endorphins. So like you said, during pregnancy, you kind of still want to feel like you're you. Yeah,
exactly.
Not just like a transporter. A
baby making machine.
That's it. So and it's sort of been proven that the odds of developing depression reduces by about 67% when you're still keeping that training, which is a massive amount. You know.
Yeah, and it's nice just for them to do something for themselves as well. Them as in pregnant women, just grouping them together. But like a lot of the time they're running around, you know, as women, like, I know it's stereotypical, but you know, doing things for everyone. And then just like 1 hour a week, they're like, okay, this is just my time where I can come in, work on me, work on my strengths, weaknesses, work on my flexibility, and just have their own space for an hour. I think it just does wonders for their mental health.
Yeah, 100%. So what about then the older adults? Should they be lifting everything, or are they going to just break as they pick things up?
Well, again, it's progressive overload. So so go back to the basic fundamentals of weight training. And again, with the older people, I know this is obvious, but they often need like a longer warm up. And obviously starting with body weight like you would with any individual, things like just getting up and down off a chair without using the hands. Like one day, I mean, it's dramatic, but that could save their life. You know, just like falling down. And if they've been weight training, the bone density is more likely to either have stayed the same or, you know, not decreased, then they're less likely to fracture the hip, for example. So then they're going to have a better quality of life. Because they don't have to have a hip operation or whatever. I just think a lot more older people should get into weight training, but I think again with the barriers, I think it probably does seem quite intimidating to all of a sudden like lift these weights if they've never done it their whole life. I just think it's quite a big thing to do, but I don't know, I guess you could maybe start, I don't know if people do it in nursing homes or whatever, but if they don't, then that would be, an ideal market for getting people moving. Because if you're old and you're just stuck in a chair and you can't physically get up, then I'm
just visualizing that tour round of a nursing home, old people's home. It's like we've got the lounge area here, we've got the Olympic platforms over there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why not?
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
But obviously, you'd have to go in slow and steady, and do health checks and all that. Yeah. But I think ultimately, once you get them going, think of the endorphins and their own empowerment. They can move around. If they were in a nursing home, they can move around more freely. They'd have, they'd be free. They would be less dependent on, say, carer. I don't know, taking them to the toilet, for example. Things that you need to do. But again, that would be I think a big culture change to try and, get more older people lifting weights. But I think there's probably a market for it.
Yeah, 100%. But looking then at the benefits, if you were lifting weights throughout your life, that age is going to creep up onto us all. I now start making, good. Fingers crossed. I now start making noises as I lift things up now.
Getting
can't help it. It just happens. But if we kind of look at that, the benefits for when you're kind of getting to that point. If you've been lifting weights previously, you mentioned some about things like bone density. We know lifting heavy weights increases the size of bone density as well. Any other kind of benefits or any things that you're going to see effects of?
Well, I was reading a study the other day that it says it improves your brain. So basically, it actually improves brain matter. So I didn't directly link to dementia, but obviously, if your brain, is working better, then I'm not don't want to make a direct link to dementia, but I was reading that obviously, it helps keep the essential brain mass healthy. And I'd say like osteoporosis, so things like falls, and it'll help with posture as well, because if you look at a lot of older people, if they're like slightly hunched over, if they've done like weight training and flexibility and mobility, then that's going to help reduce that hunchiness. If they're just stretching out the chest, getting the back working, plus if they stood up nice and tall, they're going to be more confident. Because if you like this, then I think you don't feel as empowered if you're walking around like this. So just little things like when I see my grandma who's getting quite old, I say, look, sit up tall, and she's always like, oh, what things can I do? And it might just be little things, like just like moving her arms back, just little tiny things. And by the end of it, she's smiling and happy because she's been moving in a different dimension, and she's sitting up taller. And I think with older people, it's just little things, just moving in directions that they didn't think they could anymore. I mean, obviously not gymnastics, that sounded a bit dramatic, but even like just sitting upright and then trying to reduce back pain, just things like that was going to work wonders as you get older, or else it's just going to all go in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's it. You mentioned
fix itself.
Yeah, you mentioned as well about the kind of osteoporosis. We know that osteoporosis affects women more than men due to kind of the change in estrogen when they hit kind of menopause. So again, a massive benefit there of females lifting in that big strong bone density before that stage kind of hits. Well, obviously there's bigger mass. In theory, there's more chance of that reduction being slower.
Yeah, no, exactly. And at least if you're maintaining it, then you're not losing it. You might not necessarily particularly grow the density, like the bone density, but as long as you're maintaining it, then you're not going in the wrong direction. Yeah,
absolutely, cool, good stuff. So, have you got any other thoughts you want to kind of chuck in about empowering women and making them awesome and in big heavy weights?
I think lifting weights together. So even if it's with friends or like in a class, so let's say I do my Girls Do Lift class, I think women just seem more motivated and confident. So even if you're encouraging, say, one of your clients to go to the gym with, take one of their friends and do it, I think adherence to exercise might increase because they're going to the gym and they're confident and they can work in pairs and they're not as self-conscious that people are looking at them, because then they can talk to themselves. It's more fun. I think just encouraging women to weight train together, I think that is like a massive big step in the right direction. And then if there's like two people together in the men's area, then there's double the amount of women if there were just one person. So then more women will join, and then we'll start a revolution of lots of women weight training.
We're going to see packs of women going
herds.
Yeah.
No, exactly. But I think doing it together, I think women do tend to enjoy it. I mean, not everyone, but finding like a gym buddy or someone that you can go with, I think that does definitely help people. Or training like two women together if you're a personal trainer. Doing joint training, then they might feel less intimidated by going into a trainer and charge more money.
Business perspective. No, I generally find, now again, we've used the words probably stereotypical quite a lot on this one, but I'm going to add one in on the end of that as well. Generally, I find, especially when I've trained female clients, and I know my other half and she trains female clients, they like to chat more.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. Whereas the guys quite often, we don't have a lot to say.
Nah, they're not bothered. Crack on.
We're really boring and haven't got a great deal to say. Whereas females like chatting. So I kind of think strength training is probably the ideal because you get long rest times.
Yeah, true. If you're lifting
so you can have a longer chat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a good little marketing ploy right there.
That's it, yeah.
Lift heavy and you can chat more.
Yeah, that's it. Cool.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Perfect. Right. Well, I think we're pretty much there.
Okay, great. Yeah, sounds good to me.
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us.
No worries. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure. It has. No doubt we'll catch up again soon.
Sounds good.
You can give us a little shout out of where we can find your details, if you like. Yeah,
I will do. So Instagram is Girls Who Lift GWL. Or my personal one is Abi Hardy PT.
Perfect. Good stuff.
There you go.
You'll see your numbers shoot up by.
Oh, indeed, yeah. I better do after all this. Can I do chatting?
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
No worries.
Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you. You too.
Take care. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.